My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't awake. My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you...
Good morning, good evening, Patriots. It's been a wild day. It's going to be a show in obviously memory of Charlie Kirk and the things that he has accomplished and the legacy that he set. So the Patriots Prayer Network, I mean, obviously it was a large debt to Charlie. So today, family, we come together with heavy hearts, and we lost a warrior, a brother, a good man who gave his life to something bigger than himself. Charlie wasn't just a name. He was a movement. He was a voice for truth in the age of lies, a defender of freedom in a time when freedom feels under attack, and a believer in God's purpose for this nation when so many people have forgotten him. Charlie's life was taken by a coward. But make no mistake, his mission was never in the hands of one man. It's all of ours. Evil thinks that by silencing one voice that it can quiet the truth, but truth doesn't die. Truth doesn't retreat. In Charlie's work, his fight for faith, family, and freedom must live on in each one of us. So today, as we honor his life, we make a promise that we will not sit down, we will not bow, we will not surrender the ground that Charlie fought for. We will speak boldly when others stay silent. We will stand tall in a culture that tries to shame us for what we believe in. And we will carry forward this movement with the same fire that burned inside of Charlie's heart. This is not just a remembrance. It's a call to rise, a call to defend the values that made this country what it is, a call to honor a man's legacy that was not just with his words, but with his action. Charlie gave us an example. Now it's our turn to pick up the torch, and let's stand together for truth. Let's carry the banner of faith and for freedom, for higher purpose. And let's make sure the world knows that Charlie's mission doesn't end here. It begins again with us. And today I'm joined by Osigah Kakhu. And Osigah, welcome to the Patriots Prayer Network, brother. And Osigah, you have some very fond and dear memories with Charlie, and you worked alongside of him and you knew him. What can you tell us?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Eddie, man. Like I said to you earlier, I'm lost for words. It's been a rough day, really. It hasn't even been a couple of days. It's been really rough to see, first off, how widespread the video went instantly. And usually they say viewer discretion is advised, or like it's blurred out. But remember, we're in a digital age of where we're going away from the media. We're going more towards like social media and things like that. So that's it was just instantly, and it's mainly, it wasn't any like really news footage like what we're used to usually with events like this. It was just regular people posting, and you just see it. I saw it like 5-10 different times on my way home when I saw it. So it was very sad, especially to see somebody that that happened to, and then it was a quick rumors of he may still be alive, but then you saw it and you knew in the back of your head that it was just
Oh
so,
no, yeah.
so
I
horrible
called
that
it immediately. There's no
yes,
way. Once
it
I
was
saw,
it was so sad. And then immediately you think of his family, you think of Turning Point USA, you think of the country, you think of his family and friends, you think of all these things. But what I would say that I'll give Charlie, and I could give a little background on how like we met, worked together, and how he, basically made me into the
let,
political figure that
let,
I am
let's
today.
go. Let's go there.
Okay.
How did you get introduced to Charlie?
So basically, if you've heard my story before, I started with Turning Point. Like I became a conservative slowly. And my story basically starts off of basically me being a business person. I started my home care agency over 10 years ago. And then I slowly began to realize that the media was very misleading, to say the least. I'm Southern, so I try not to use the word lie too much. That's
Being polite. Yeah, I get you.
South a little bit. They're a little bit misleading, and then that showed a lot during the 2016 election with Trump versus Hillary. And I do remember, because we grew up as Democrat, and especially in the inner city where I grew up, and I do remember seeing Trump and Hillary, debating. And I remember Trump was making very good points. It made me angry in the back of my head because I was thought to think of on emotion and things like that. Like he was actually beating her and stuff like that. And like he would say things like, "Oh, it's something about taxes. It was smart." And then when he hit Hillary with because you would be in jail and stuff like
Yeah.
that, it was very
Yeah.
simple to understand. And he was winning and just being an honest man. And I thought on that election night, 2016, that Hillary was going to win, no question. And I was surprised when I saw that he wasn't, that wasn't the case. So, but I went to bed thinking, okay, we'll wake up. Hillary is going to be president. It's going to make history, right? And that's the way that we were taught to think of things. Like, for example, Obama becoming president, it was about him being the first Black president or whatnot.
It was a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, it wasn't even about his policy or what he stood for. It was just that we were trying to make history. So that's the same thing they try to do with Hillary or whatnot.
And Kamala.
Yeah, and Kamala. Yeah, that's the same record that Democrats do play. So what I did when he was elected, because I was in college at the time, college campus, the whole college campus, I was at silent, man. Everybody was like they were mourning or whatever. But me, I was like, okay, let's give Trump a chance. Let's give at least the president, a chance to see where he's going with these things. So
that's exactly what Dave Chappelle said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So days and months go by, I don't realize I'm living my life. My life is pretty good. I think I was edging out of college at the time to start to really start my business and just really go into it full force. And things were going smoothly. Now, later on, I had saw this social media post on it's called, I don't know if I should say their name. They're not a sponsor, but it's a social
Good, you can say it.
It's a social media page that is primarily Black, right? And it's huge. It's probably one of the hugest. It is the hugest. Anybody would know. And they had posted one day, and this was like months after, maybe a year or so after.
Now you got me curious. Who is it?
It's the Shade Room. It's the Shade Room. They're worse than CNN, worse than MSNBC, very biased and such. If most people know, they have millions of followers or whatever. And so I was scrolling and I see them post pictures of Black kids in MAGA hats, right? And they're like, guys, what are we thinking of this? And of course, a lot of hateful comments were going. Me, I was like, well, I commend them for thinking for themselves, because then I was a business person. I saw how tax benefits helped, right? I saw how minimum wage was bad. I was on a perspective as a business person. So I saw in the comments, how nasty they were, right, to those kids. But what kind of impressed me was those same kids that were in the picture, they were responding to them word for word with intellect, with good points,
Mm-hmm.
and they articulated their thoughts. Of course, some got cussed out naturally, it's the comment section, but they were actually responding, and I'm like, wow, they actually took the time to respond, and they're actually standing the heat. So I messaged one of them. Her name is Rochelle. She's in our friend group. Actually, I was trying to have her on tonight. I messaged Rochelle at the time. I didn't know them. I said, man, I commend y'all for sticking up for what you guys believe in. It's very brave, right? And I just said, hey, I'm just a businessman out in North Carolina, and I just wanted to commend y'all. And I thought that was it, right? She said, hey, would you like to join our group? And I was like,
We're using a conundrum.
yeah, I was just like, okay, it's just a group chat. I'm gonna come in as a business person. I'm gonna say I commend them and whatever, and then be out. I joined a group chat. I do that, right? And slowly we have dialogue, and it's very interesting. And I give my perspective on why I think a $15, $20 minimum wage is bad, especially for Black businesses, because it's a barrier to entry for a lot of people. Like I always say, Amazon, Walmart, they want that $15, $20 minimum wage. It cancels out their competition. So I explained that to them. They like that. And then I also explained that I had a fellow business mentor, and he's in the same industry as me. He actually went to prison for tax evasion. Now, here's the thing, though, about it. He had his first his first great multi-million-dollar set of years, right? And when you get to that point, you need a series of accountants to make sure you're good with taxes and things like that. Otherwise, the IRS will come at you so
They
fast.
red flag you
with him.
Once you're on the radar. You're on the radar.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with him as a Black businessman, and they came at him so fast before he could get everything in order. If he had known that, which is why I preach on financial literacy, it would have helped him out. So he did about 2 years. I think it was 2 years. So I had mentioned that to them, and I said, hey, financial literacy is important, and there should be some kind of either prison reform, or this guy is not nonviolent and whatnot. Not knowing what I was saying would lead to a career in politics and what I do. So they were like, oh, our organization, they are advocating for what is called the First Step Prison Reform Act with President Trump. And this is a bipartisan thing. I believe Cory Booker was the one who kind of started it. And then the Trump administration picked it up and helped pass it. But I was like, okay, I guess I'll give my opinion. They wanted me basically.
Yeah, it was good when it was in Booker's hands, but when Trump actually did it, it was all of a sudden bad. Yeah.
So basically, they wanted me just to give pointers on and speak from my experience and give pointers to the lobbyists that group had on the floor that day. So I just took a short. I read through the program. I said, hey, this looks good. This wants to return people back to the real life and release them. And it just doesn't release them. It gives them an ID. It makes sure they have a job. And make sure they're just ready to return to society and be functioning members of society. So I was like, yeah, I'm for this. This is great. And it's nonviolent criminals that they're putting back in. This is amazing. And I just gave pointers like how it could help society, how it was a good law to pass. It could help lower the recidivism rate, all kinds of stuff. So
let me interrupt you for 2 seconds. You do know that I benefited from the First Step Act going to vote for prisoners.
And it's great when I met you at that hotel, because I get so many people come up to me and say, man, I got released off that program. Thank you. Yep. Like it just all the time. It never fails. And so I'm just used to it at this point, and I just have a conversation and I'm happy for them. And they're doing a lot of them are doing great. Now, of course, the haters will say, oh, some slipped through the cracks. Like y'all let actually some violent people slip through the cracks. Even Candace has said something about that. But I don't regret for a second, doing that. It's helped out a lot of people. Now, I'm wrapping up my thing here. So
You're good.
I hop on a call. Mind you, I didn't know nothing about politics. I know a little bit about lobbying. I paid attention in civics and economics class, but I didn't know that I was on the phone with the organization Turning Point, Candace, Charlie, it was Megan, Mark at the time, and some other, and Rob. I think they were lobbying that day. And I was just giving them pointers to tell to other senators. At the time, I didn't even know Senator Ted Cruz that much. But they had told me like, oh yeah, we ran into Senator Ted Cruz and we told him some pointers you gave. And I saw like the social media posts about that they posted. So that organization was Turning Point that gave me my first start as I guess a lobbyist consultant. I just hopped on a quick call and I just gave my opinion. And then later on they said, oh, this passed the Senate, and they were so happy, like that group chat was happy, and I'm like, oh, that's great, I'm happy it did. I remember like back in the day they had the what those videos on a law passing they used to show us in school. With the bill that he'll say, I'm just only a bill. So
that's right. Yeah, I'm a bill.
That's what I knew. So I was like, well, if it passed the Senate, I guess that's the president next. So I thought nothing of it. Weeks or I think months later passes by and everybody's going crazy. And then I'm seeing like some news snippets saying, and then Trump sitting down at the desk and they said they're signing the First Step Act into law, right? And
what did that feel like?
I'm
knowing
like,
that
cool,
you were a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't realize the magnitude of it at that time. I was like, literally, I was somebody that had dropped out of college and I was just working on my business. I was like, okay, cool. And I guess the call did help. It was just a quick call. I really forgot about the call. I didn't really think too much about it. But the people in the chat, they were like, oh yeah, thanks for helping us out with that. And this it was helpful and blah, blah. And I thought I didn't think much of it at all. And then like I said, months later goes by, it's February, Black History Month, right? And they are in the same group chat. They're like, everybody check your emails, right? I'm like, okay. I checked my email. I didn't see nothing, just like your email that you sent me, the invite link.
Yeah.
And then I said, I didn't see nothing. What are y'all talking about in the email? They told me to check my spam. I checked my spam. It's an invitation to the White House for Black History Month, and I guess a little bit to celebrate maybe the First Step Act and other accomplishments as far as that. So I didn't believe it at first. I was like, okay, cool. But remember, I lived in the smack dab middle of Charlotte, North Carolina at the time, the same place where that poor Ukrainian girl just got, brutally murdered.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy how the left doesn't care about Ukrainians anymore, isn't it?
I know. It's a very, very
overnight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So me, I'm thinking, and mind you, I'm fresh out of college where I went to school with liberals. So I'm like, man, if I go to the White House, I probably won't ever be able to return home again. It will all change and stuff like that. So I was even thinking of not going, right? So last minute, right? And it's not like now, like where I could afford a plane ticket just to go and whatever. Last minute, one of my good friends, I'll never forget his name. I'll never forget him. His name is Miracle. And he was just like, you should go. Anybody would go. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity. He talked sense into me. So I couldn't afford a plane ticket, but I got a train ticket from Charlotte, North Carolina, Amtrak to
that's right.
DC, Union Station, right?
Yeah, I know it all too well, brother. I'm from there.
So I sent all my information to Secret Service. I was good to go. They checked me and stuff. So I took it was like a 6-hour train ride. And I was like, I slept all the way through and all that stuff. I didn't know I was gonna make it in time because meanwhile I did it last minute, right? And the Secret Service, they eventually closed the doors, at the time. So I hop on that train. And I'm thinking like, man, what am I doing? I probably won't be able to, go home no more. This is crazy. I can never forget. I think that train ride was like $200 or something like that. And so
I used to catch that train on a daily to get from inner city Baltimore to DC out to what they call the Red Line.
Yeah. I hop in, right? And I go, I have my bags with me, right? And my good friend John, he takes my bags at Union Station because I think he didn't get an invite, but he lived in DC area. So he takes my bags and I hop in an Uber to the White House, right? And maybe I stepped over a homeless person or two because back then, I get to the White House last minute before they change the gates. I had my suit on. I somehow, some way, I changed it into my suit in the train. Had my suit on, just trying to comb my hair, and I went in. The dog sniffed me. The dog was like, "Oh, he's good." When you go to White House, security and all that stuff. And then I went in. And it was surreal because I've never been in the White House before. I've taken field trips there when I was little, but I never thought I would be in the White House. So we're in there. It was very fine dining. Like it was good. And I saw
intimidating.
I saw black conservatives everywhere. The same ones that that my friends they mentioned in the group chat. I saw Candace Owens for the first time. I saw Brandon Tatum, and of course Charlie Kirk, which I have that picture posted of me and him. That was in the White House when I first. If
you send it to me, I'll put it up.
Oh, okay. It's on my Instagram. I'm a little I can send it.
It's on your IG. I can get it. Hold on.
Yeah. But that's the picture. So he thanked me, him and Candace and Brandon, they were all in Turning Point at the time. They kind of still are, but we talked a little bit, chopped it up, took a picture, and I got to meet all my friends in person, the ones in the group chat, from Mikkel, Rochelle, at the time, Diamond, Charisse, Jordan.
Which Instagram? You got a lot of them.
Yeah, the most recent one, it was me and Charlie Kirk.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got it right here.
So if you could post it up and they'll see, that was a great day for me because I was what points to point out. It was my first time even meeting Trump, right? So I shook hands with him. We spoke briefly, like he went through the crowd and all that stuff. It was of course massive crowd. Everybody and their mother wanted to shake hands and all that stuff with him. I saw he was tall. He was and the thing is, everything the media said about him wasn't necessarily true. He was a passionate, caring person. His speech was amazing. Even the person he brought to speak after him was from my city, who was a civil rights legend, who was in the sit-ins. So it related to Black History Month. It was a great experience. Now, mind you, which I'll get into, when I got back home, CNN, MSNBC, nobody really covered the part that Trump said, let's say African Americans built this country. Nobody covered how he brought civil rights legends from Greensboro, North Carolina to speak. Nobody covered the heartfelt part of it. Nobody really showed our faces, like the full face of the crowd. They would show a few people and they'll have Al Sharpton, come in and say something like we were paid.
Preacher.
I was not paid. I was not paid that day. I didn't have a lot of money and resources at the time because I was building my business. I came there on a train, on the Amtrak at last minute too, at that, and with a cheap suit, So the thing is, but what I would say about Charlie was he did help put all this together because it was under Turning Point. Shout out to Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens. Without them, I wouldn't have gotten started in my journey. But the key is when on my way home, right? That was a great experience. But on my way home, I'm back on the train, right? And I posted a picture. I posted a picture and some footage from it on my Instagram. And I just go to sleep on the train. And the train does not have Wi-Fi. The whole 6 hours going there. You know how the train Wi-Fi is spotty, right? So I just go to sleep. I wake up, I'm an hour away, right? And I do the rest of the hour. I'm just going. I hear my phone ding a little bit as it gets some service, but I'm just like, oh, that's just really open my internet. I get home to good Wi-Fi. My phone is hot, and it's just Instagram notifications going, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is my phone just making noise, and why is it almost freezing? I look, right, and I see like it has a lot of likes and things like that, and the White House. And then but what saddens me is the people I grew up with, even some old teachers, they at first were saying some rude things about, let's say, me going, and a lot of them were shocked. Some of the same fears I had, right? And then right after that, it's a group of people we call Patriots. They were, they were loving it. They were encouraging me. They were responding, and they were responding pretty kindly to people that I knew that were responding, and all that stuff. So I mean, that I guess gave me that boost in following, and there was like followers that came a little bit from that. But then my journey goes on to, I focus more about talking about business. Like I had another viral moment when I was talking about the minimum wage, like in business and things like that. I would always tweet about that, and that'll go off, and sometimes I'll get retweeted by Trump and things like that.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Get
so I would just
retweeted by Trump.
Yeah, and but I'll just make comments, like try to make my honest comments on things. I'll make a joke here and there, but just honest, logical, reasoning about certain things. And at the time, let's say people said I sounded like a conservative, and I'll look up what that was just to understand like what I'm talking about. And I would like, look, a conservative, even in the word, it just sounds like somebody that thinks before they do. Or has respect for the past, and they just think
standards.
That's literally what it sounds like. And then versus, let's say, a liberal, they're more quick to change or want to reinvent the wheel. And sometimes, it's okay to change, but you gotta have it tested and be sure it takes time before you really change something. Hence the word, reinventing the wheel.
Davy's on a live stream.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. He's in a space. I apologize. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. So those are just my viewpoints. But back to what I was saying with Charlie Kirk. He's a great person to work with because he also helped us. I also helped start Blexit, the Blexit state chapters with Pierre Wilson, Brandon Tatum, Candace Owens. And
when we met at Turning Point, I had on the Blexit hat. I wore the Blexit hat for like 2 days.
Yeah. So the state chapter portion of Blexit, I helped start with them. Of course, Candace started Blexit as a whole, but we're the ones who were able to make it a state chapter, and it eventually Blexit eventually got acquired by Turning Point. So Blexit is under Turning Point now, which gave us a lot more resources and all that stuff. So it's great to say that I had a hand in, in starting that. And Charlie was always supportive from day one. I remember he would follow Blexit and be attentive. He knew, like, he was watching us even when it was small, and he would recall stuff. And the great thing about Charlie is, like, he was so young, and he had set up his organization in just a very professional, very gradually growing, well-ran machine, so I owe a lot of that to Charlie Kirk mainly, like, for him starting Turning Point. Without Turning Point, there would be no Blexit. Without Turning Point, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have been, helping out lobbyists to pass the First Step Act. The First Step Act probably wouldn't have passed, maybe Trump would not have gotten reelected, because they did help. I did eventually go on to work on the Trump campaign, and I worked on urban revitalization a little bit, and I, did some other things. So without Charlie Kirk, I would never have been a political commentator. I would have never. I wouldn't be here. I really wouldn't be here. I probably might be a borderline liberal, just doing business or whatnot. Who knows?
There would be no Patriots Prayer Network if there was no Turning Point.
Yeah, man,
it's a fact.
Yeah, and it's sad to see. And this picture behind me is just a one time that that in the early stages of Turning Point where I went to a conference. I spoke a little bit at the conference too, and I just bought his book just for laughs. And I was like, "Hey, Charlie," I got in line with the rest of them. I was like, "Hey," and he just laughed, and we took the picture real quick. I think this was his first book. I just bought it just to support him. I probably have it somewhere, maybe downstairs or something.
I got the one that we got when we were in Detroit.
Yeah. So yeah, that's him and me. It was actually years ago, very much years ago. But man, it's so sad. But the thing is, his legacy. I do want to focus on his legacy, which a lot of people, yes, we're mourning now, but I don't want people to scoff over what he has done, especially at an early age at 31. You know,
Remember, he started this when he was barely an adult.
Yeah, and very impressive. And the thing is, one, he does give credit to the people that helped him, like what the investors. He always knows this first investor he ever had. I think that guy passed away, or he's still around. It was a cowboy.
He was on TV yesterday. He's still around. He told the story. The guy told the story of how he introduced him to the investor and how he had to convince them of his vision. And once they heard him speak, it was like, this guy, whatever it is, he has it. And
it was, man. So he always tells that story, and that always clicks in my head. Like, even when I go to speak to investors, like, I'm like, I gotta think of Charlie Kirk. He just went and asked, and stated his plan, and he was honest, that he didn't have everything at the time, but he kept working, and he's focused. He has a great focus to him, and a great, like, as far as truth to him, that I would say that is great to be emulated. But back to his legacy. His legacy, I would say, is mainly on the way he set up the organization. That it's still running, because a lot of people, they'll start an organization, and if they drop an organization or business, if they drop, the whole thing collapses. Like, maybe somebody doesn't have the key to one thing, the safe box or whatnot. But he's got to a point where Turning Point has a big headquarters in Arizona, and it's really nice, and it fully employs people, multiple people, fully employs them. Like it's an impressive place. Anytime I go, I'm just blown away. Like, man, this is a whole campus, and I'm thoroughly impressed. And I'm like, the legacy lives on because
Bill Montgomery, that's the guy's name.
Yes, yeah. So it's the legacy of he's lived on, and his message still lives on. Like we're gonna still carry it out, like you said at the start of the show. We're still in honor of. I mean, a lot of things will be in honor of Charlie Kirk now, but we're gonna keep fighting. Like, he always called it the culture war, and that's definitely
what it is.
Definitely what it means. Way more now than. Because, like, immediately when I saw it, like, I'm a man. It takes a lot to get me to cry or to get me emotional, right? Yeah. But the first thing I said, right, it's almost like, I ain't gonna lie, it's almost like Charlie spoke to me, or I knew what he would say. And immediately when I saw, like, that video, and I'm like, in my back of my head, I'm like, oh, he's died. I just felt like a warrior, and I was like, well, the culture war continues, And that's exactly what his words would be, that it's and I'm like, wow, it's literally a war. It even reminds me of, like, my high school football coach. He was very funny, but what he would say was, you always come to practice. You come to practice. I don't care if I die. He said, put a ring on the casket if I die. So same like. Kind of thought pattern, like, and I'm like thinking, like, Charlie, most of what he'll say is the culture war continues, as far as that. But it is very sad that he was can I say it's not YouTube, so should I say on
you're good. You can say no, you're good to say anything you want.
He was murdered for his views, and it's very cowardly, especially of the left, especially the left that are cheering of this, because let it have been anybody on the left, it would be, and conservatives, we would be like, our condolences too. Like with that Supreme Court justice, when she passed away, we gave our condolences. Yes, we appointed who we appointed, but
I've never seen a conservative or right wing person or anything like that ever cheer a death of somebody. What these people are doing right now is absolutely despicable, and it just shows that anything like the mercy, those who give mercy deserve it. What they got coming to them is like, I would not want to be in their shoes when I'm standing in front of God at the end, because I tell you what, boy, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. Speaking of God too, as well, there's not many people, and I can say this about Charlie, there's not many people that I automatically would say, oh, they're in heaven, right? And I don't use that too loosely, but I would say Charlie was a good guy. I don't think he smoked, drank, or anything like that. But he did practice what he preached. Like, in the world of influencers where they're political, I know a lot of people that don't necessarily practice what they preach 1,000%, and including myself on some days. I fall short, but I can always say, Charlie, especially knowing him, working with him, he did mean what he said as far as what he practiced, and he would try and be as honest as possible. And he would give great advice. Like me, I started my nonprofit
you say that, but let's slow down a second.
Yeah.
You say,
oh yeah,
Charlie gives great advice. What advice has he given you?
Well, he did give a lot of people that college was a scam, as I like to say. But he would mention like trades and stuff, which is what I started my my nonprofit to focus on. Also, what he had said recently with his college tours, and his college tours, when we would go with them and speak and stuff, it would be a mob of protesters. But what I do remember him saying as of recent was this one girl, they were talking about abortion, and the gal was like, well, sex is something that you want to have. And she made up a good point from a worldly perspective. She did say that, okay, so Charlie, you and your wife, you guys have sex, right? Are you guys having sex every time to make a baby, or use for pleasure, right? Good point. That a lot of people will want to, and she made it personal. Charlie was still calm, and he answered the question honestly. He said that as Christians, it's whatever God blesses us with. And then she hit back with, but you are white, wealthy, and you can afford 20 kids, which was true. But he did come back, and this is a great thing about us conservatives, is that you don't just let money or circumstances dictate a child, right? Which I like that, because that has to do with faith. And us conservatives, we have so much logic in everything that we, I guess, have very little room for faith, and we reserve that for God. We reserve that for just having faith in God.
Yeah, we're analytic and we're calculating.
Yes.
When we make a decision, we look at everything from every angle and make sure that it's a proper decision. We don't just do knee-jerk reactions and things like that, because we were taught, we were groomed, we were grown. I mean, not all of us. I grew up as an inner city kid. If you were to analyze my life growing up, it wouldn't be any different from a lot of people that are talking about the inner city youth. It would be exactly the same. From that perspective, it'd be exactly the same. There's no difference.
And so the thing with that is, he drove it to the point of having faith in God with children. And why it struck me is because I'm still young myself. I'm 29. I'll be 30 in November or whatnot. One of my biggest fears now, I'm going into, I hate to use the word transitioning, but I'm transitioning.
You ain't transitioning. Don't say that.
No, I'm transitioning to be a married family man, right? I'm in the process of like, dating and get eventually finding a wife and having, kids. My biggest fear is not being able to provide for my children. So I'm always analyzing it. Like I know how much it usually costs. It will cost my insurance to deliver a baby. I'm over there calculating the cost.
You're talking about being responsible,
right? But nothing, like a lot of people say, nothing can prepare you for a kid. You just got to go in with it. So him saying that, it did help as far as like, look, I'm gonna have faith. I've calculated everything in my life. College, paid off my college debt. I've started my business. Everything has been calculated as where there's a margin of error of something. Everything, but a child, like you just never know. Like your child could have a condition. Your child could want to play little league baseball, and that costs you $1,000 or $2,000 a month in traveling. Your child could get injured, and the hospital bill is just crazy. So many things, and then
but you love your child
every day.
But you love your child regardless.
Yes.
And
So
you would lay down your life for
absolutely.
your child. Whereas the people on the other side of this issue would lay the life of the child down for themselves.
Yeah.
And they don't see it like that, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I don't even want to give them too much mention. I'll just speak for what it did for somebody like me that I am going into that transition in life or a real transition, not the gender bender crap.
Yeah,
a real transition into being a father, a husband and a father, and that's been my biggest fear. Of course marriage is going to be the most important decision you make, especially in these days when, let's say, the law might not always be on the guy's side, and the way that society grooms
might
us
not always, most of the time.
So,
it's not.
So that it's like those are like a lot of risks for me. The marriage, having kids, and like I want to raise kids. I want to raise good kids, because I'm also a licensed foster parent. I do what is called respite foster parenting. So, and I see kids all the time, like coming from broken homes or just not even broken homes, just completely non-existent homes, and I see how, like, just even a few years of, let's say, abuse or not being raised correctly, how it's affected them, that it's so much reversing that you have to do that. I'm like, man.
Yeah, once trust is broken, it is very hard.
Yeah, so it's just so, but it's assuring and the great thing about Turning Point, they were always, they had that mantra of trust God and faith when you get married and when you have kids. I can talk about as far as the Turning Point employees, which is why I love Charlie so much, because he created a space for that. He was able to actually employ people to fight for what they believed in, what they loved. Like his employees, like, how they say employee, like what they say, workplace happiness, or what's that crap, those buzzwords that
workplace culture, there's a
workplace culture, stuff like that. Turning Point, people were happy in Turning Point. Every time I'll speak to my friend Kalasia, she works for Turning Point right now. She's happy. The day she got married, she's being paid decently. She, flies back and forth to Arizona to do work. And when the day she had her baby, everybody congratulated her. They were so happy for her. Like literally everybody in the office was texting her, and she could just tell she had a support system. And of course, they gave her leave, and all that stuff. But it was just a culture of have as many children as you want, be fruitful, multiply, and trust God, so I'm glad to see that for her. I know her personally. Of course, Charlie having his children, Candace having her children, and a lot of employees that were able to just wake up and make a living doing what they love doing,
but that's the dream right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just to go to work, but to go to work and be fighting for a cause at the same time. and do something that you actually believe in. The people that just got to go to work just to get a paycheck, and that is the whole purpose. And they just hate getting up every day, and they don't want to go, but they got to pay the bills. That, I mean, to be able to combine the two, both your passion and your paycheck, that is just that's the dream.
Yeah, something that, man, I'm impressed that he was able to do that. You know, like very, very impressed, and as a nonprofit, not even just, he didn't do it as a business. It was a complete nonprofit. He wasn't flashy. Like you never hear of Charlie like flashing his wealth. Like the most I've seen from him of an activity that maybe he's done that is costly is maybe hunting. But everybody hunts. You know, everybody hunts once.
It's not that costly.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, you saw the video of Charlie walking with his daughter, and she picked up the baby doll.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, I don't know. It was probably like a $10 baby doll.
Yeah.
And he made it out to be in a very important, big purchase. Little girl, you know, did you earn this?
Yeah.
Were you a good girl? Yeah. And he didn't do the rich bougie, like, whatever you want, little girl, whatever you want. No, he was modest.
Yeah. Hey, good guy, man. Great guy. You know, like it's really sad that it happened to him. Now it also, I'm like, oh, and here's another thing that tells you what's great about Charlie. As big as he is, he still did those college tours easily. Those are beneath him. He doesn't have to do that anymore.
Never forget your roots.
I understand, but he could have easily said that's beneath him. He has too much time, but he still did it and still taught to college students. And the thing is, it did get so massive that sometimes you'll think, especially when we're at the events, we'll be like, oh my gosh, there's so many people. But then again, especially in the prime of like Trump's first administration, we would have almost really Secret Service there too, you know, as far as that. And Charlie has a great security team. Candace has a great security team, but I guess they made that mistake. And of course we want to blame security and be like, hey, what's the problem? As we should, you know, because it ain't cheap. You know, that's one thing that stops a lot of people from, like we were talking earlier, it stops a lot of people from being a public figure. That security bill alone ain't cheap, but I guess it's worth every penny, of course, when it works. Now, me and Mikhail, we were talking earlier, as we said, what if like there was like drones would have probably helped in that situation where you just go overhead and look for anything suspicious or stuff like that. Of course, have people on top of buildings, because apparently they said it was shot from a building.
Yeah, it was. He was on top of a roof, from my understanding.
It's insane that they didn't cover those roofs. And then I was like, well, what if they had like some kind of infrared type of, if they want to talk about gun control, right? What if they had like a maybe infrared or some kind of sensor that senses like gunpowder, which they kind of do. But what if it was a little bit something extra, like maybe they put in all guns made, they put some kind of like metal or something that it will show up on that on a sensor,
like a thermo cam or something like
that. That's specific to guns, and then they just take the drone, go over it.
I'm not a gun control person, but I don't see anything wrong with a certain amount of regulation, I guess you would say. I mean, because I understand that there are people like this guy yesterday, and and the thing is though, in order to fix the world, you got to fix everybody's hearts. That's it. And you're never going to be able to do that. There are going to be ignorant people. It's like people out there that are fighting to end racism, right? You're just not going to do it. No matter what, you can fight the noble fight, and it's noble to fight it.
Yeah.
But you're never, unless you can get to someone's heart, you're never going to change that individual.
Yeah.
You're not.
That's valid.
You're not going to do it.
Yeah, that's very, very much, valid. What I was thinking of was that back to like the whole conversation about guns, right? The simple fact that gun laws First of all, criminals don't follow gun laws. They're
No.
criminals.
No.
That's what makes them a criminal. The gun laws that are in place, we already have some type of gun control right now. You first off,
The best gun control was an armed citizen.
you have to get the money, which is it's not cheap. No gun is cheap. Then you have to get your permit usually or something like that. And then maybe your concealed carry, depending on what state you're in. And then they do some kind of like check on you. But the thing is with guns, right? They still find a way to get into the hands of bad people that shouldn't have it. Also, the black market. The black market is still there smuggling guns. They smuggle guns into these countries that don't allow,
Yeah.
So
if you remember back in Obama's when Obama was in office, our own government with the Fast and Furious did that very thing and handed a bunch of military grade weapons off to cartel.
Yeah, so people will still find ways regardless. And let's be honest, nobody is giving up their guns. The only reason when those fools up in New York, when they turn in your gun and get $100, you turn in some old rusty. I'll turn in a slingshot. Get me $100, no question asked, and go upgrade my gun to a better gun.
What's funny about the people in New York, and I mentioned this yesterday, was they ran an ad in the newspaper. I want to say it was about 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and they printed the names of all the registered gun owners in a specific area of New York, and they put their names and their addresses in the op-ed that they printed. And then the person who printed it, who put it out, hired armed security.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, this is the backwards thinking of the left. We got to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back after this commercial break.
Beto Q broadcast, it's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part, there are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
No idea why that happened. It just kicked me off, brother. I'm sorry.
That's so good.
Sitting there with the dead air. I figure I grabbed my legs it had. Should have had you sign it when I was there.
Oh, I appreciate it. We'll meet again sooner than later, man. It's just surreal, man. Like, and then it's like every time you just turn on any social media platform, that's all you see, and it just reminds you of what happened. Like I woke up this morning, like, did that really happen? Like it was a nightmare. And I just look at my phone and I'm like, dang.
You would figure you would get more people that were like more I don't know, in your face, ignorant, like, just calling people out, but Charlie was a person that gave a platform to everybody.
He did.
It was an even exchange of ideas. He would pull people down from the back of the place that were holding signs up, completely contrary to whatever it is he was talking about or what he was preaching. And he like, give him the microphone. Let's talk. There's the whole basis of what he did was a conversation. If your ideas were as good as you think they are, then talking should not be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. The thing is that what they did yesterday, it kind of ended the conversation for a lot of America. It ended it because now people are like, okay, we tried talking.
Yeah.
And they shoot at us.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of people that are going to be looking for retribution, similar to what happened in Idaho. I don't know if you saw it, but in Idaho, somebody came through their candlelight visual for Charlie, yelling "F Charlie Kirk," and he didn't make it to the other side. I don't know if he made it at all because the video that I saw. Oh boy, that dude right there, he got a healthy one. And I just, I think that the left pulls a lot of games and jokes on people, and you have these things online called bots. And a lot of people think that their numbers and their support is a lot more than what it actually is. That's
very true.
And they don't realize that more than half of America does not think like you, doesn't believe like you, doesn't feel like you.
We saw in 2024, when they got rid of all those mail-in ballots, those fraudulent, voting.
When they knew we was looking, it went a lot different.
Yeah,
it went a lot different. Did you see this today? Tom McDonald put a song out as a letter to Charlie. I'm gonna play it real quick.
Shot down and he was barely 31. Another woke coward took a life with a gun. He left behind a wife and a daughter and a son. All he did was try to speak for all of us. And I'm so tired of the hatred and the narratives. The Patriots ain't dangerous, woke people are the terrorists. They shot and killed the father, sent a message to Americans. They ain't gonna stop until they bury us. Dear Charlie, I don't know if you can see us now, but if heaven has a window, I sure hope you're looking down. Cause we ain't going quiet, we gon' scream your name loud. And you're gone, but I swear to God that we gon' make you proud. We ain't backing off or giving up, I'll preach what you taught me. They may have killed a soldier, but that man had an army. This is far more deep than some political parties. And you can't kill freedom, so this one is for Charlie. This ain't the America that all our parents love, but good men try to keep making it great. Pray that God will take care of us, the system is failing us. When good men die for the things that they say, and I can't just be quiet. So I gotta be brave, cause this is America. Lately it's scaring us, but one good man can change it all in a day. Killed in cold blood for having a discussion, and liberals are celebrating murder like it's justice. You didn't kill a villain or the evil that it comes with. You killed a father and a husband. And I'm so tired of the left and all the wokery. We can't get along if you just kill us when we don't agree. Sniper rifle fire from a liberal that no one sees. Scared I might be next to die when I'm just buying groceries. Charlie, we'll make sure your children know that defending all our freedom is why you aren't coming home. I hope heaven has a window you can watch your children grow and hear your message echo from below. And we ain't backing off or giving up, I'll preach what you taught me. They may have killed a soldier, but that man had an army. This is far more deep than some political parties. And you can't kill freedom, so this one is for Charlie. This ain't the America that all our parents love, but good men try to keep making it great. Pray that God will take care of us, the system is failing us when good men die for the things that they say. And I can't just be quiet, so I gotta be brave, cause this is America. Lately it's scaring us, but one good man can change it all in a day.
Man, as I said, I posted that earlier. I said, leave it to Tom McDonald to say exactly what we're feeling.
Yeah, like there's been an influx of course, tributes to Charlie already. I haven't been able to see Tom McDonald yet. Like I said, like social media is ill flooded. Now, also, I do want to point out that as far as the legacy, right? Our retaliation shouldn't be too much in range to the point that we're like liberals, you know what I'm saying? Or to the much that we can't control our emotions and still hold dialogue.
It's very hard.
It's very hard. Yeah, I'm not saying it's easy, but that's what makes us conservatives, that we can control our emotions. We can think before we do.
No, you understand.
Like, makes us. And the thing is, like, the nation already, like politically, a lot of people said Democrats would never win an election again or whatnot.
They just made damn sure they're not going to win the midterms. That's for sure.
That's also there, you know. But us as conservatives, we know we're still going to get our point out, because yes, how they always say it's the moderates that you have to win over. It's the independents that you have to win over.
The ones that still have critical thinking mind.
Yeah, which the independents, they will swing towards a little bit to the right to elect more, you know.
Depending on the issues at hand, they can be swayed. I mean, and that's exactly what you saw with the last election with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the Republicans that voted Donald Trump in. If you looked at that electoral map, the whole damn thing was red.
Yeah. Now going forward, see, we all, because this is another reason why some people, they think like, oh, it was an assassination. I'll put it up to that. But a lot of people were thinking it could be a conspiracy, because Charlie is a big lead, of course, in the movement, in influencing elections, of course, and talking sense and against, let's say, radicalism and just calling things out. And Turning Point USA is a great, you know, vehicle for that thing. Great, probably one of the biggest tools yet, right? So it's going forward. It's like life after Trump.
I look at Turning Point like a ministry, brother.
Oh, it is. They have Turning Point Faith too. Their faith line. Shout out to Kalasia and them. So the thing is, it's like life after Trump, right? When Trump leaves office, he's not getting a third, fourth term, as some liberals like to make up that nonsense. But it's like, who's next, right? And what's next? Because it could easily go back to the George Bush Republican days, like
please don't do that.
Easily, because Vance is cool. I love Vance, but he is a career politician. You know, Pence was.
You know what though? You know Michaela, right? So, Michaela called me. I was in Lake Tahoe, on assignment, and she said that Trump had invited me down to Atlanta. So they got me the plane ticket, actually two, because I had to fly back to Vegas.
Was that a couple years ago?
It was it was an election, right before the election. This election.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So I was, the only way I can get there is I got to go home first. I ain't coming without a suit and whatever else, right? So they sent me to Vegas and then on to Atlanta. I had already been up for like 40 hours.
Yeah.
Like straight, bro. I thought I was going to sleep on the plane, but them little Spirit Airlines seats was not letting that happen.
Ooh, they put you
So
on Spirit.
on Spirit, bro. So
me, it's
no, hold up. I'm lying. It was Frontier. I'm lying. It was Frontier.
Oh,
It was
same,
Frontier.
same.
It was Frontier.
I've never flown Spirit or Frontier. I've always, when it's turning point, it's always been American Airlines, maybe Delta one time.
I like Southwest. I like the open seating arrangement, but
okay.
The thing is, it's like as long as you got an A ticket, you're cool.
Mhm.
But you know, I get to the place where they're holding the event, and the police were not, they weren't happy we were there. They wasn't trying to let us park. Michaela was getting ready to be on stage because she took so long getting ready. We showed up like 15 minutes before she had to speak.
Yeah.
So we pulled up. I just told her, I said, run in. I'm going to take your daughter back to the hotel because they wouldn't let us park. We had a presidential parking pass, bro. Like we had an assigned spot, like a number. And they were like, I was trying to explain this to the cop, and he was just not trying to hear it. It didn't matter. He didn't care. And so I went back to the hotel, and we caught a Uber back, and I got in. But when I was waiting out front, and Michaela's number had popped up on my phone, and I'm mad. Of course, all this went down. I've been up for 2 days, and I looked down at the phone, and it was Michaela. So I'm going to vent. I'm getting ready to just let it out, like how PO'd I was about everything, and how they're just being dumb about this stuff. And I looked down, it was Marjorie Taylor Greene FaceTiming me on Michaela's phone.
Yeah.
And like I stopped like mid 4-letter word. I ain't gonna lie. Right. I was like, and they said, where are you at? And I said, I'm right outside whatever door, whatever. And they sent Secret Service and some city councilman or whatever out there to get me. And they walked me in the back door. Now, all the people, the press that were in that line and the long line of people that were outside, all they saw was this white dude walking in with this little black girl. And like, you know, getting Secret Service escort. Who the hell is this dude? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They take me into the back room, little tunnel. The only is like a door that leads to a tunnel.
Yeah.
And it's behind the stage. Like they got these spider tunnels that all lead to the stage. Yeah. And I was in the back of it.
Yeah.
And when I walked in, I was in there with JD Vance, Burt Jones, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I had a chance to talk to JD Vance for probably a good solid 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Had I known what I was walking into, I would have recorded the conversation. Really. Yeah. It was a chance of a lifetime, but I didn't have that. So we got to talking, and I'm very, very honest with him. And I was like, I just, you know, what are you going to say to people that say you is like a never Trumper and all them things that you said? And now all of a sudden you're running on his VP ticket.
I know,
dude. He got into that. He told me how he had his change of heart and all that. And we got into where I was from and where he was from, bro. He's got the same exact story of growing up that I had. Actually, you know, his mother was a heroin addict. And so he would go to school and not know. And when he came home, his mother was going to be dead or alive because
he was in foster care, right?
Bro, the same things. And I'm sitting there and he's telling me this, but not like a politician, not like somebody giving a speech, like you and me talking right now.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking in this man's eyes. I'm a very good judge of character. He was just being a regular dude, like you would have, you know, sit down and have a drink with, talking over a barbecue or whatever. He was that guy. Yeah, and that's when I changed my mind about him. And I went outside there. I talked to Alveda King. Yeah. I talked to Caroline Levitt. Okay. I talked to Pam Bondi. I talked to Trump's nephew. He was there. I talked to a lot of these people, man. And I talked to a lot of people that day. They were probably somebody I don't even remember because I was so damn sleepy. Yeah. And it was really cool hearing a shout out on stage for me you know, when Trump was on stage and Michaela's there shouting out Patriots Prayer Network, and you seen it in the intro.
Yeah.
I mean, and as soon as that happened, it was like, I didn't care how much sleep I didn't have. It was like I just took 6 5-hour energies, all of it at the same time. And I was just wide awake after that.
Yeah.
And we couldn't take 2 steps when that event was over, getting out of there without somebody wanting pictures. You know, I never thought somebody would want a picture with me or anything like that. And then we're walking around even at the Turn the Point event. And then recently at CPAC, Maurice was getting mobbed by people because he had on the MAGA headdress. He had made a MAGA headdress, and we went to CPAC. And I look back at all of the things that we've had opportunity to do just from having a passion to sit on here and tell the truth and fight for the things that are right and call out the things that are wrong, similar to the same passion that Charlie had. And I remember being the guy that used to just be sitting home, just death scrolling, listening to Charlie, like, for lack of a better term, battle people with wit, with wit and intelligence, and I believe the Holy Spirit. And in the best ones was when he went to like Oxford. He went overseas, and them kids right there was on a whole nother level of battle. They weren't blue hair weirdos like over here. I said that. And them kids challenged him. Challenged him to a degree that I never saw him challenged before. And here's a guy that didn't graduate college. He learned the things he learned to be able to articulate his points because he had an innate will to know them and to espouse them and to convince other people. And there are many times where I saw him convince, not just battle and like, oh, you got me and that was it, and the person just walked away and still kept their same view. I saw him change people's minds. And that right there was so inspiring to be able to know that, you know, when people put to most of the time when we're going back and forth with people online, 90% of the time it's because they found some left-wing meme. They didn't research it. They didn't research whether or not what they're saying is true. They speak from a place of feeling. Then they speak their feelings as if they're absolute facts. And they don't go do their research. They start with what they want to believe, and then they try to chicken pick all the facts that make it look like what they think is real. And it's so often and so much that it's like, dude, it's like, if you would just get out of your feelings and just do whatever's true, stop with picking, you know, trying to figure out where you want to land and land where the truth takes you. And I guarantee you 90% of the times we'd find ourselves in agreement. The problem is people right now think with too much emotion, knee-jerk reactions, and hatred. And that's exactly why that's why Charlie was doing it the way he was doing it. The fear is, like you said, is now that there are going to be a lot of people that decide that now that that's been tried and failed, what else do you do? How else do you combat these things? How else do you, because eventually it's going to be about the safety of the country. It's going to be about the safety of you and me and our children, and where we go shopping and where we can walk on the street at night and where our mothers and older fathers or whatever can go. And at some point, it's a boiling point to which you can't ignore. There's a time for everything, right? And you know, the Old Testament would say, it's a time for peace and a time for war. And unfortunately, although we're doing everything in our power to avoid that, it is very hard for me to sit here and tell you honestly that I think that the United States can avoid that, because there's never been a change in this country, a positive change or a step forward, that hasn't occurred on the other side of bloodshed, civil rights movements, the Civil War itself, the Revolutionary War. Every single movement in this country that has ever moved us along anywhere at any time in our history unfortunately had to come on the other side of some dumb knuckleheads that just couldn't get the point and had to be shown like, and that's a fear. It's not a wish, right? It's not me saying I want that. That's me saying that I think from an honest perspective that I don't know if we can avoid it.
Yeah, very agreeable. Like I said, it was. I just really can't wrap my head around. I mean,
the world feels different today, brother. It is not the same world as it was yesterday.
We even forgot about 9/11 to tell you how impactful this was. We don't even realize today it was 9/11.
You know, I saw him giving the 9/11 commemoration speech when he was talking earlier today, and I'm like, you know, and as many people died on that day was so close to the Charlie Kirk thing. I'm like, we need to be talking about the Charlie Kirk thing, and I'm not belittling what happened on 9/11 because that's what woke me up. That's what made me want to look into all these things.
I'm just saying how impactful this was that we do, you know, as far as that. But man, it's really, really sad, man. And on top of that, like
just imagine how his daughter feels today.
Oh yeah,
she woke up to no daddy.
How do you explain?
You can't explain that.
Yeah,
you can't explain that. The impact that this dude. I mean, you can't give me a good reason why this was okay, why this was a good thing to do. And these dumb people who really think it's a good idea to come on here and act like that MSNBC host, that thought it was a good idea to say like he brought this on himself. Nobody brings this on himself. For all the dumb actions that people on the left take out of their knee-jerk emotional reactions, if we were to say that, how many of them would be murked tomorrow, today, right? How many of them would that
like doxed? You get what I'm saying? Like for example, yes, there's people that lost their jobs today for their comments, you know, even locally where I'm at, right?
But how did we react?
Yeah, we
just went to legislation.
Yeah,
we went to legislation. We went to the internet. We won people's hearts and minds.
Yeah, and I agree. But here's the thing, though. What about the smaller people? Like, a lot of things were said. I'll just be like, I'll just say that. And you know, me personally, I'm not the person to try and dox people or whatnot. And things work out, you know, things work out for a reason, and they'll work out one way or the other, you know, God willing. And it shows, like, you know, about I've heard of 3 people, you know, being fired from their jobs. And before it used to be the other way around. You say something against leftist values, you get fired, you know? So a lot of things are changing.
I went to my job when I started doing this, when it became a thing, like it started growing and people recognizing me and that sort of, like I before all that happened, I went to my job and I told them, hey, I'm going to be doing this. This is a problem because, in all honesty, this means more to me. Like, I will stand and die on principle, right? Charlie gave his life for what he believed in. He was a soldier on a battlefield, whether or not it was figuratively, literally, whatever the case may be. He gave his life in a fight to do what he believed was right, and not just what he would believe was right. Screw all that. He gave his life for what was right. What he was saying was right. What he was doing was right. For the right reasons, and he had the right motivation. And they couldn't defeat his ideas, and they couldn't shut him up. So this is what we end up with. So, you know, Jesus said, we will know them by their fruits. And if you look at the fruits of the left, what do you see? Mutilated children. You see death. You see depression, anxiety, confused people. You see angry, emotional people that just, they don't care about anything but themselves. That's all they care about. And prior to this, I'll be very, very honest. Prior to what just happened, I sat down and I had a conversation with my wife, because I felt like, and I'll say it, I felt like that the journey that we are on,
Yeah.
Was leading me down so many political avenues that I felt like my calling for Christ was taking a back seat to maybe being a Trump apologist. And I was like, I that's not what I ever intended this to be.
I get where you're coming from.
And it just so happens that my values on both sides of these beliefs line up to the same thing. And I did a study on the book of Daniel, and I started to realize how much faith and politics go hand in hand. You know, Daniel was in a foreign land under Nebuchadnezzar and his son. And in both times that he served the king, and legislation that king passed down, and Daniel was still standing on what was right. I'm not bowing to the golden statue. I'm not doing these things. And Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego were thrown into a furnace. Daniel was thrown into a lion's den. And they stood very firm. We're not eating your food even. He's like, this is what the food that we want to eat. And, you know, give us this food. And in 10 days, come back and look at how healthy we are compared to everybody else. And then make your decision. He did everything he did by giving the same apologetic arguments in a different way, of course, but the same ones that Charlie was given. Common sense. Let's talk about it. Let's use logic. Let's have an exchange of ideas. And then whoever's right is right. The problem is Charlie was always right. And they couldn't handle that. And then we end up with this. So when anybody wants to know who the left is, that's who they are. They're a bunch of people that kick and throw fits. And when they don't get their way, they resort to violence. And that's now cemented. That is cemented.
It's proven, yeah.
So there's no argument to be had there. That is a fact. And I don't know how we get around that.
Yeah, it's just I just can't believe, man. Like it's hard to cope, and even the wild part is, on the other hand, I've gotten really good news today in my personal life, in my business life. But
share it.
But I've it's still been gloomed over by the chart. Like I've just been going through the motions today, and I'm just like, man, it doesn't even matter anymore. Like, you know, like Charlie.
That happened to me yesterday. I had some extremely good news. Bittersweet, isn't it? Bittersweet.
Man, bittersweet doesn't even describe it. It's more like torture. Okay, torture. Mild, torture mild. If that's new bittersweet. And I was like, man, this guy, you know, somebody who really, let's say, I'm not saying anybody deserves this, but it's like sometimes it's like, why had to be him so young too? Like imagine
31 years old. He could have been my child, dude.
Yeah, like imagine if he's in his like 40s, 50s, who knows like where it would have gone. But the great thing about his legacy, it will live on. Like Turning Point will still go on 10 times better.
When that seed hit the ground, a tree is going to grow up in its place and produce more seeds that are going to hit the ground, that are going to grow up and produce more trees, and over and over and over again. What they really did was put a nail in their own coffin.
Yeah. Now we're conservative, so we think logically. We gotta look into the future. Back to this, let's say about Vance. I have no problems with Vance as far as that. I'm just saying at the core, he's a politician. But the thing is it's not just Vance. It's who else? You get what I'm saying? Because I mean, there will never be anybody like Trump. Never, right?
No,
never, never. But the thing is, it could go back to the Bush like days.
Those established that establishment style neocon way of politicking, like the Lindsey Grahams and all that needs to be understood. That listen, on the left they walk in lockstep. It doesn't matter how bad the idea is, they won't openly disagree with each other. They will defend a bad idea to the death, no matter how terrible it is. At least I know this, that on the right we are not afraid to call out members of our own party and say we disagree. I remember Josh Hawley and and a Rand Paul, not Ron, but Rand Paul, getting into an argument over freedom of speech around the TikTok app when they were talking about banning it. And it was a very passionate debate. And this is on the same side of the aisle. And if I could ever see that occur on the left, I would think that there was some hope, but it doesn't, because this is the reason why we have Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, and all these other what would otherwise be Democrats that are now Republicans, not because they're truly Republicans, but because they're not radical enough to be Democrats. Because RFK is 100% a Democrat. He is a climate alarmist. He wanted abortion up to the 9th month. Like these are all views that he openly expressed. He is nowhere near a conservative. But when it comes to the HHS and the things that he knows and the medical stuff, he knows it well, and that's where he belongs. Keep him away from the oil. Keep him away from all that other stuff, because he does that side of it very, very well. Tulsi Gabbard is a very honest person. And at first I didn't trust her. I'll be honest. Like I distrust everybody at first.
I can understand why. I can understand why you'd be
but she has proven now, right? She's proven herself when it came to the Crossfire Hurricane stuff with the Russia hoax, and she came out and with the Obama stuff, it proven that he quarterbacked the whole thing. Like not only did he know, but he was behind it. And these are the types of things that that people need to realize, that, you know, hearts and minds can be changed. And unfortunately, what this person did yesterday was a disservice to everything that he might have believed in. Right. I don't know what we don't know who he is. So I don't know what he believed. But
the fact that he's still at large is shocking. It's very shocking.
Especially in this day and age, right? So I'm gonna play a quick clip. I'm gonna play a quick clip from Charlie before we get out of here. I wanna show this.
Remembered. I mean, if I die, everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.
I don't know if you know this, but everyone dies. It's important to remind yourself of that. That you face God, the judge, and he's going to list everything you did wrong in your life. It's going to be a long sentencing hearing for me. Well, you get justice, which is hell, because that's what we deserve. Mercy, which is less of that, which I'll allow the theologians figure out what that is. Or grace. What is grace? Grace is something so unique, so different, so profound. Which is as soon as the sentencing's about to be ushered in, someone comes in and says, no, I will serve that prison sentence for him. I will go into the prison cell for him or her, so that they can live forever. That's grace. You didn't earn it. You didn't check boxes for it. You didn't go park cars for a ministry and that gets you extra points to go to heaven. None of that's true. It's that it's equally accepted for all people that allow Jesus Christ to be your Savior, the Savior of the world, to be born new and to be completely and totally renewed. That's a gift that we must try to give all people in the world.
I mean, I've had an unbelievably blessed life. Been doing this now, it'll be 12 years on June 5th.
Such a young man to do it.
So young.
Yeah, so praise God. I mean, I've been all across the world. I've met with world leaders. I've flown in Air Force One, got to know a president. I have an amazing family, the podcast, Turning Point USA, all that stuff. And so you experience that and you're like, what actually matters? What matters is your relationship with the divine, your relationship with your family, your kids, and maybe a close collection of friends, and your relationship with the truth. And you could decide to lie all the time, then you become a tortured individual. And you know those people, you just turn on television, they're constantly lying and they just become like disfigured either emotionally, spiritually, or physically. Because when you lie, I believe you're actually committing suicide of the soul. I really believe that.
Are you a Christian by any chance?
Very, very much so.
Like, why is that exactly?
Jesus saved my life. I'm a sinner, gave my life to Christ, most important decision I ever made.
So you believe the Bible is real?
Yes, I believe the Bible is true and real. Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I could give you the technical answer. There's never been an archaeological discovery that has contradicted the truth of the Bible. And then, of course, the wisdom. There's not a truth of the Bible that if you apply to your life does not improve dramatically. And then finally, we have the most accurate and transparent, historically robust account that one can have of the most important figure ever to live in the history of the world, Jesus of Nazareth. And the resurrection is the pinpoint of my belief that Jesus did rise from the grave so that we may live.
And for those of you that have not given your life to Christ, I could tell you it is the most freeing, liberating thing that a human being can possibly do. The most important thing that you can do, which is to be born new into the kingdom of God.
Man, profound in so many ways, brother. And I know that he was much younger than me, but I look up to him. And it's sad that this had to happen, and it's sad that for a lot of people it took this probably to wake them up. I have to believe there were a lot of people that were center left that are not now. So yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow to hear him say those things. You know, it's surreal. You want to say anything before we get off of here?
Hey man, the culture war continues.
The culture war continues.
As Charlie would say, it says he'll want us to keep fighting. Also be cordial, get your point out. Don't lose your emotion that you act in, violence. At least don't break the law, at the very least. And of course have faith. Him saying that in that short clip, I've heard that many times today. Like I said, it does help even with my faith in my next phase in life.
Yeah.
Which is starting a family and having children, and rest in heavenly peace, of course. And I'm just really lost for words. But I'm really lost for words, and I want to, of course, more details of the funeral, the remembrance. I will definitely try my very best to be there. I'm sure they have something planned. It's just so devastating, but I would really like to pay my respects. And
yeah, it's the same with all of us.
Absolutely, the culture war continues,
and the culture war continues. That's a I'm not even going to say my usual sign off. I'm just going to leave it at that. The culture war continues. In the name of Charlie Kirk, may he rest in peace, guys. Have a great night. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us tonight to help us remember Charlie Kirk. Not just the head of Turning Point, not the guy who just debated people on college campuses, but Charlie Kirk, the man, the Christian, the father, and to Osigah, many.
Oh, I cut.
Good. I'm right here. I switched over screens.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll leave it at that. The culture war continues. Have a great night.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
Know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. gun, run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave, to the grave, United States. We love the country that they've been corrupting, go woke and go broker if you ain't obeyed. My people love this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is America.